This chart shows a market projection for a specific chemical compound, forecasting global sales to reach $4.32 trillion by 2034. That chemical is ethanol, a volatile, flammable toxin that somehow powers a dominant segment of the global economy. Rather than rejecting this substance, human biology is uniquely adapted to it. We are one of the few species that possesses the genetic machinery to metabolize it. This trait developed between 7 and 21 million years ago in our primate ancestors. It allowed them to eat fermenting, fallen fruit without suffering toxic disorientation, unlocking a source of calories that other animals couldn't safely touch. That adaptation turned a natural poison into a survival advantage. It gave early humans a way to process high-energy food sources that would later become central to the way we organized our first permanent settlements. Once humans moved toward agriculture, we began harnessing this process on purpose. We've found evidence of 13,000-year-old brews in Israel and residues of fermented honey and rice in China dating back to 7000 BCE. In early societies, low-alcohol beer provided more than just calories. Because the fermentation process and the resulting acidity killed waterborne pathogens, beer served as a sterile source of hydration in an era when drinking surface water was frequently deadly. Brewing was so essential that workers building the pyramids were paid directly in beer, up to 4 liters a day. It required a structured production line with specialized roles for grinding, mashing, and fermenting, making brewing foundational to early labor organization. Over thousands of years, that localized survival strategy scaled into an industrial giant. Today, beer alone accounts for nearly half of the global alcoholic beverage market, produced in automated facilities like this one. But while our industrial capacity for producing alcohol has scaled exponentially, the primitive liver and brain processing that ethanol have stayed exactly the same. The basic chemistry of every alcoholic drink is a single metabolic reaction. Yeast consumes sugar and converts it into 2 things: carbon dioxide and ethanol. However, yeast can only tolerate so much of its own waste. Once a liquid reaches about 15 to 20% alcohol, the ethanol kills the yeast cells, putting a natural ceiling on strength. Humans eventually learned to bypass that biological limit through thermal distillation, a process developed by the ancient Greeks around 300 BC. Because ethanol has a lower boiling point than water, heat vaporizes the alcohol first. By capturing and cooling that vapor, we can separate the ethanol from the water, concentrating it into high-proof spirits. Distillation took an accidental byproduct of overripe fruit and turned it into a precision-engineered chemical, manufactured at a scale that fills these massive rows of copper stills. Mastering this process allowed us to strip away the water and organic residue, leaving behind a highly concentrated dose of a substance that has a very specific effect on the human nervous system. When you consume that dose, your body begins a slow metabolic countdown. It takes the average adult about 1 hour to process a single unit of alcohol, or about 10 milliliters of pure ethanol. As ethanol enters the brain, it binds to GABA receptors. It amplifies this primary inhibitory chemical, sending a calming wave across the neural network. Simultaneously, ethanol acts as an antagonist, blocking excitatory glutamate receptors. This dual action creates a sedative effect while lowering inhibitions. If you drink heavily and often, the brain tries to compensate for this constant suppression. It downregulates its own GABA production and upregulates glutamate, essentially trying to turn up the volume to stay alert. When alcohol leaves the system, the brain is left in a hyper-excitable state. Without ethanol to dampen them, the upregulated glutamate signals fire uncontrollably, leading to severe anxiety, tremors, and in extreme cases, seizures. The same chemical mechanism that produces a rewarding sense of relaxation is the exact same process that rewires the brain's circuitry, leading to a state of toxic imbalance and dependence. This neurological trap creates a massive public health crisis. The World Health Organization estimates alcohol consumption is responsible for 2.6 million deaths each year. Beyond addiction, ethanol is a systemic toxin. It is a known carcinogen linked to 7 types of cancer, and it causes measurable cognitive erosion and structural damage to the developing adolescent brain. Because the brain physically adapts to the substance, recovery often requires medical intervention. Detox and rehab are necessary to safely manage the withdrawal and allow the brain to restore its natural GABA and glutamate balance. We are currently seeing a significant shift in how people view this risk. Health-conscious demographics are increasingly trading down, moving away from high-proof spirits toward low-alcohol or non-alcoholic options. The industry is responding by using traditional brewing and distillation methods, then adding a final stage to extract the ethanol. This allows them to supply a rapidly growing market for drinks that replicate the flavor of beer and spirits without the intoxicant. Alcohol provided the sterile hydration that supported early human expansion. Today, modern technology allows us to maintain the social rituals of drinking while removing the ethanol molecules that once made them necessary.